Well, I was born in Philadelphia, but I grew up in Miami. I went to Brownsville Junior High School, which is not too far from here. But I also, in summers when I was working for community programs, those community programs were also in Brownsville. You know, my family used to come to the Hampton House, both as tourists from Philadelphia and South Carolina. When they came down to visit my grandmother, they would stay here. And also, you know, the proximity of where I grew up and the Hampton House, I knew the building, but I wasn't allowed to come in because this was kind of considered an adult place.
There's a article from the Miami Times dated August 18th, 1948, that says the S.D. Johnson family has moving from Colortown, Overtown, to the suburbs. And the joke was that if you're going to visit the Johnsons, that's the family name, you have to take your lunch because it's going to take you that long to get there. And so we're talking about from 2nd Avenue and 10th Street to 54th Street and 29th Court and 29th Avenue. And it did take almost a half a day. And so he bought homes on about 7 homes, 29th Avenue and 29th Court, for us to be together. And it was very interesting because I was going to 1st grade at the time, and Brownsville for us, well, that area was called Glenwood Heights. And in the article, it shows, it talks about it being a suburb on the outskirts of Brownsville. So that for a long time, our area, Glenwood Heights, was not considered a part of Brownsville. But in the last 30 or 40 years, I guess, it has been included. They were glad to include us and what we bring to the community. I say it like that because my uncle, Dr. S.H. Johnson, moved his home at the time. He was living in Liberty City, and after my grandmother died in 1952, he decided that he would join us, and so he moved to Brownsville also, right across the street, and built a swimming pool in his home. I don't know how many other homes in Brownsville have swimming pools and libraries and all the amenities that one could want. He even had he grew orchids, and at his death in 1987, he had a greenhouse which he had built, and he had about 500 orchid plants that he cared for. He even grafted them and named them, and just was known nationally in the orchid circuit. My experience as a longtime resident of Brownsville, which in fact had its own businesses, shoe shop. They not only repaired, they repaired shoes, and they had a tailor. Pretty much all of the goods and services that you needed for a community were replicated in Brownsville. Overtown had more and a larger business section, but certainly Brownsville had quite a bit. And something that's very important, the people who lived in Brownsville. I don't know whether you've heard a lot about them, but the first black in the state legislature since Reconstruction, Kershaw, Joe Lang Kershaw, lived right there on 46th Street. Gwen Cherry, the first black female to become a lawyer, to pass the bar, take the bar, to pass the bar.
Cassius Clay at that time.
Yeah.
Right? And he lived in the community. He had a home over on like 53rd Street, something like that. He lived in the community, but just to see him, you know, when you're a young kid, you see these people on TV, you know, they are, you know, they're great, they're stars, and to really see them when you're a teenager, when you're a young person, it was really, really something exciting to go back and talk about among your friends.
The question I would like to everybody to know, you could buy anything you want in Brownsville. Clothing, shoes, restaurant, food. You didn't have to leave, go 2-3 miles to get a loaf of bread. Everything was right here in Brownsville. We had dry cleaning, we had shoe shop, we had upholstery, furniture upholstery, and we had fish markets, meat, Neo meat market across the street on 48th Street and 27th Avenue. Then we had Taylor and Dry Cleaning, which we own on 49th Street and 27th Avenue. We was there from 1955 until 85, when my husband and I retired then. And we was making pants. He drafted pants, drafted pattern, made the suits. And we had other tailors come in from when they get off from work and putting together the suits and things.
Brownsville is a unique community. Always has been a unique community, but we have something in Brownsville that doesn't exist anywhere in America, and that is we have a building, the Brownsville Improvement Association building, at 2741 Northwest 49th Street. And the thing that is unique about this building is that it started out, the area was to be like a little playground for our children. We had no playground for the children in the neighborhood. There were no public parks there. Whatever playground we had to go on the school, wherever there was a school, and play in the field there. Or we played with the graveyard. That's over there now. We played in the graveyard. But the citizens of the community got together and acquired a piece of property, and then they would have entertainment on it. They would bring in entertainment. I don't know if you've ever heard of a group out of, they call it Silas Green from New Orleans. And they would bring in carnivals and affairs like that. And the Brownsville Association wanted to have a place where children could play and adults could meet, and we would have family and community meetings there. So the building that we have, and the address that I gave you, 2741 Northwest 49th Street, was built and paid for entirely by the community. There were no grants. There was no grants. There were no big philanthropists around to help us with it. It was really just your everyday working people putting $2 and $5 or whatever in. And it was built and totally paid for, no grant, no government, only the working people of the community. So that's the only building of its kind in America that exists today, where the community built it and paid for it and financed it themselves, except for the last part where I think to get it completed, in order to have a tenant in there, someone wanted to rent it. $34,000 was borrowed at the end to complete the building, but all the rest was just strictly money out of people's pockets. No grants, no write-ups, no foundation, no anybody, just regular working people. That's what distinguishes it from anything else in America. There's no other one like it.